As demand for rapid at-home COVID-19 testing increases across the area, one local pharmacy says they're struggling to keep up with the demand. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with the factors that they say play into this and how soon they think that they'll get another shipment.
The latest jobs report shows Americans leaving their jobs at a record pace. I'm Jerry Willis with Fox Business. The details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. U.S. Marshals looking for an Oklahoma woman who is considered a most wanted suspect. Back in November, Heather Griffith pled guilty to assault by striking, beating, and wounding. Authorities say she stabbed a woman at a hotel in Grove. She was sentenced to 1 year supervised probation. She's now wanted for violating that probation. Griffith was last seen in Grove. Authorities say she could still be there. If you have any information, you're being asked to contact law enforcement. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now. That wind outside, just unbelievable.
Yeah, but it certainly did the trick to really warm us back up after another cold start, Jordan. In fact, let's roll in the numbers for you. 30. Cold start this morning for sure, but that wind, it had no problems pushing us to 51 degrees above our normal high of 44 for this afternoon. We've had cloud cover come and go, but again, that south wind did not let the cloud cover stop us from warming up, but it's a strong south wind ahead of our next Canadian cold front knocking on the door, and it will continue to pass on through as we go into the overnight. As far as what it'll do with temperatures in the short term, right now, a lot of us are still trying to hold on to the mid-40s, but I do anticipate that as that front rolls on through, we're going to have lows dropping back into the 20s tonight. Definitely colder for tomorrow, despite partly sunny skies, and highs only near 37. And this is going to set the stage, believe it or not, Jordan, for some potential snow chances by Thursday. We'll break that down here in a bit.
Nick, thank you. Now that the holiday gatherings have passed, a lot of 4-staters may want to pick up those at-home COVID-19 tests. But as cases rise, tests could be harder to find. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how the shortage of these tests has hit a local pharmacy.
The holidays are over, which means kids are heading back to school and many people will travel home from vacation. And with COVID-19 cases once again on the rise, you might want to get tested before heading back to day-to-day life. The only issue...
We carry the Binax rapid test. When we can get it. Yeah. With everybody traveling over the holidays, yeah, the tests have been really hard to come by.
Adam Fletcher, manager at Prater's Pharmacy, tells us there's been an increased demand for at-home rapid COVID tests. The reason for this increased demand could be due to a few factors, such as the Omicron variant and people gathering and traveling for the holiday.
We typically get 5, and the ones we've had recently, when we've got 5 of them, they've gone out in the same day. We usually have numerous calls a day. It's first come, first serve, and when we get them, and then we've been out for some time now. Some people will try to ask us to hold them, but it's hard to do that.
Fletcher says it may not be just them either.
It's very common. It's like pretty much every pharmacy. Around Christmas, we had so many phone calls just asking, do you have a test, do you have a test? And the consensus is no, I don't think anybody around really does.
Even larger pharmacies and retailers like Amazon, Walmart, and CVS recently announced that they will be limiting the amount of COVID-19 tests that a person can purchase. All of this while the U.S. reports over 1 million new daily COVID cases.
New cases are popping up every day. We're seeing more and more now than we did even when we were at our worst parts of COVID a year ago. So it's most important to continue to wear your mask and also, I guess most importantly, get the vaccine.
In Webb City, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
FDA recently reported a decrease in sensitivity in rapid antigen tests when it comes to detecting the Omicron variants, but they say if you do test positive, you should still trust the results. CDC released new guidelines urging people, regardless of their vaccination status, to avoid taking a cruise. This as the world deals with the highly contagious Omicron variant of COVID-19. But despite the warning, hundreds of passengers boarded the Disney Dream on Monday, ready for their 4-night cruise sailing out of Port Canaveral. Many passengers say they understand there may be hiccups during the trip, things like canceled stops, possible quarantines, but they're willing to roll with punches. Disney and many other cruise lines require all passengers to be vaccinated, take a COVID-19 test before they board, and take another test on the 4th night of their stay. Disney Cruise Line updated its policy. Kids 5 and older now have to be vaccinated. That policy takes effect January 13th. All right, will 2022 finally be the year that the COVID-19 pandemic ends? You ready for this answer? Experts are unsure. Bet you didn't see that coming. Experts are unsure, especially as the Omicron variant continues to spread. Scientists believe the end of the pandemic will be more like learning to coexist with it rather than the complete eradication of the disease. Lower income countries around the world may still be dealing with the effects for years, as wealthier nations are going to develop new tolerances for an acceptable number of yearly deaths. Some immunologists believe the future of COVID infections could see a person staying home for only a few days before moving on with their lives. The Omicron variant is fueling a surge of new COVID infections among children. Some doctors say boosters could be the key to stopping the spread. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Siri has more.
New coronavirus cases are surging across the country, particularly among children. The American Academy of Pediatrics reports 325,000 children tested positive for the virus last week. That's a 64% increase from the week prior. At least 9 states are also reporting a record number of COVID-related pediatric hospitalizations.
Getting our kids vaccinated makes a huge difference. The vast majority of kids who are being hospitalized right now, in fact, are those who are not vaccinated.
The latest surge is having a major impact on in-person learning. More than 1,000 Boston public school staffers were out Tuesday due to COVID-19 and other reasons. In Chicago, the teachers union is considering a return to remote learning as they call for increased testing and better masks.
Our commitment is that we're going to continue to have masks throughout the surge, throughout the month of January at a minimum. And we will respond and pivot as we need to if we continue to see if we don't see the surge decline.
Meanwhile, public health officials hope COVID booster shots can help keep schools open. Tomorrow, CDC vaccine advisors will discuss boosters for children ages 12 through 15 after the FDA authorized the third shot. But some medical experts have criticized the decision.
The decision to boost healthy adolescents, millions potentially, without any efficacy data, it's perplexing. Boosters should be targeted for high-risk populations.
And today, the CDC did recommend Pfizer booster shots for immunocompromised children as young as 5 years old. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Carthage School Board approved a plan aimed at hiring more substitute teachers in Carthage. Under the new plan, retired teachers and paraprofessionals would see a pay increase of $20 per day of substitute teaching. The plan also adds incentives for substitutes who work long-term in a classroom, like when a regular teacher is on maternity leave. The district is also hiring up to 12 full-time substitutes who are going to be available when the district needs them, and making substitute pay consistent across the district.
COVID has made the matter more obvious. And we've always had problems finding subs, but COVID has kind of taken away maybe some of the veterans who would come and sub for us. And just the idea that being around a bunch of kids might make them a little nervous. But hopefully this will allow us an opportunity to bring some people back.
Retired support staff, custodians, and food service workers will also see a pay increase for filling in those positions as a substitute. It is what some are calling the Great Resignation. More and more Americans walking away from their jobs as the labor market drives up wages and forces businesses to compete for workers. November's jobs report showed those departures continuing at a record pace. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis has these details.
The latest jobs report shows the continuation of a trend that has grown during the pandemic. 4.5 million people voluntarily quitting their jobs in the month of November. That's around 3% of all American workers. The hospitality industry saw the most departures, with 6% of all employees quitting. People working at hotels and restaurants citing low pay and health concerns as their reasons to leave. Nearly 7 million Americans were unemployed in November, while more than 10 million jobs were available, meaning there were nearly 1.5 jobs available for every worker. Critics of the White House say continued unemployment benefits are to blame.
There are hundreds of thousands of trucking jobs open. There are factory jobs open, manufacturing. And by the way, David, these are not minimum wage jobs. We're talking about jobs that pay $18, $20, $25, $30 an hour. Truckers can make $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and people are not going back to these jobs because Uncle Sam is paying them not to work.
November's data does not factor in the arrival of the Omicron variant, which has accelerated call-outs and staffing shortages. The tight labor market has also meant Americans can often find a new job quickly. More than 5 million Americans have left the workforce since the start of the pandemic. Most were over 55 and retired, while others opted to switch industries. On the flip side, almost 7 million people were hired in November, which could paint a positive outlook for 2022. Jerry Willis, Fox Business.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Thomas Studevant served in the U.S. Army from 1953 to 55. Native of Carthage, Missouri, Studevant was stationed in Korea. We are proud to thank and salute Corporal Thomas Studevant. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast, and a bit later, going to hear from the Chiefs as they prepare to finish the regular season on the road against the Broncos.
We certainly enjoyed temperatures back above normal today and certainly continuing to thaw out after the wintry mess that we had to put up with this past weekend. Mid-40s, that's what we topped out at the other day, but after we only dropped back near 30 this morning, look at how we climbed back at least near 50 around Joplin Regional, but the official high today was actually 51. Either way you look at it, back above our normal high of 44, but this is short-lived though, because with another cold snap on the way, our normal high stays 44 for tomorrow. We'll only drop back into the upper 30s, setting the stage for potentially some more wintry weather to come our way by Thursday morning. In the short term, though, looking good for 7th range line. Quiet skies up top. That southwest wind still in action, though. So you take that southwest wind to 16 and gusts near 25 in Joplin. That takes a temperature of 47, makes it feel like 40 degrees outside. Everyone's pretty much trying to hold on to lower to middle 40s all across the board, but the wind out there still ahead of the approaching front. Still trying to make it feel like the mid to upper 30s across much of the area, in some spots near 40. But our next front, where the wind has forced itself to pick up throughout the day, it is right on our doorstep, working over the Kansas Turnpike, and that is going to drop us back into the 20s as we get tomorrow morning underway. But not a lot of moisture with this immediate front as it starts to work on in. And doesn't look impressive with this next wave on the way in, but it's upstairs that we're watching. This upper wave that developed today out of Montana, working through the northern plains now. This is the wave that'll pick up some more moisture, provide some additional lift. That's going to ultimately bring some snow chances back in here by Thursday. But again, we're still looking good for the rest of the night. Some cloud cover will build back in, but we'll call it partly cloudy and mostly clear for some of you. But everybody's cold with temperatures dropping back into the 20s. We'll just bounce back and forth between partly and mostly sunny skies for tomorrow. But again, that's going to be a downright noticeably colder day thanks to that cold front passing through. 26 in the morning, 33 by noon. Afternoon highs around 37. We're quiet to start Wednesday evening out, but here comes that wave from the north. It's going to keep that cloud cover locked in. And once we get past midnight through Thursday morning, that's when we'll watch for bands of light snow, snow flurries, maybe a couple quick moderate snow showers to work on through. But it's primarily a morning affair. We'll get the action out of here by the time we go into Thursday afternoon. But you know how we only top out in the 20s once this wave passes on through. But as far as expected snow amounts, we've been tracking this for the past few days now. Haven't really deviated much from what I was thinking the other day, but we had to expand the expected coverage of snow a little bit. In general, though, I really think most of us will see between a dusting and about an inch. If we can see some more snow overcome the drier air upstairs and make its way down, I would not be surprised if we had to up the amounts for some a little bit, but not by very much. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't a big snowstorm on the way, but it'll take us from 37 tomorrow to 23 on Thursday. Back near 40 on Friday, 50s on Saturday, but then another front rain chances, Jordan, just sends us back into the 30s on Sunday.
Cold doesn't bother me as much as the ice.
Well, thankfully, we don't get any of that Thursday.
Yeah,
cold enough upstairs and down here, no ice.
Good. Nick Kelly, thank you. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, coming up, a lot of headaches getting from point A to point Z and every point in between.
Winter storms and COVID causing nationwide travel chaos. I'm Casey Stiegel at DFW International Airport. I've got that story coming up.
Chaos at airports nationwide as thousands of flights canceled or delayed today because of a combination of COVID disruptions and winter weather, stranding folks hoping to get home from the holidays. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stiegel is over at DFW International Airport in Texas with the latest.
More chaos for folks trying to get home after the holidays.
I've been here since last night, so they canceled, and now I'm getting a flight with United, hopefully leaving this afternoon.
Airlines canceling thousands of flights on Tuesday and delaying thousands more, leaving anxious passengers stranded and frustrated at airports around the country. Many heading to the airport hoping their flight is not impacted.
Please don't cancel our
Yeah,
flight.
just hoping this one wasn't canceled.
Please don't cancel it.
The widespread groundings and delays due to a combination of winter weather and COVID-19 staffing disruptions on flights and also around airports. Experts say we may not be out of the woods yet either.
In the coming weeks, at least, you could potentially run into more cancellations and delays, just for the very fact that the airlines, of course, are still trying to beef up their staff.
The winter weather not only affecting air travel, drivers also facing traffic snags due to snow and icy roads. Hundreds stranded overnight on a 50-mile stretch of I-95 near Fredericksburg, Virginia.
I've been here since about 6 p.m. yesterday. You know, it's really hard because you're trying to stay warm, but you're running out of gas.
And in the Northwest, officials closing a stretch of US 26 in Oregon because of dangerous conditions there. And the travel mess isn't over just yet. More snow forecasted for even more areas later this week. That's the latest from DFW International Airport. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
All right, coming up, a reminder of the importance of bees.
There's a lot of buzz around bees. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at how a decrease in the bee population could impact your health. Plus, a unique way a group of beekeepers are protesting their losses. That's all straight ahead.
You ever seen that movie, Bee Movie? Kind of what we're doing right now, giving bees some due credit. Bees do a lot more than make honey. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez has a look at how decreasing bee populations could impact what you eat. And a group of protesting beekeepers are raising awareness.
Honeybees are responsible for pollinating 80% of flowering plants in the United States, including more than 100 of the fruits and vegetables we rely on. And all those pollinated crops come with a huge profit of roughly $18 billion. But those benefits are at risk. According to data collected from the nonprofit group Bee Informed Partnership, between April of 2020 to April 2021, beekeepers in the U.S. lost almost 50% of their colonies, with losses attributed to climate change, harmful farming techniques, and the use of pesticides. But bee colonies aren't just dwindling here in the States. Conditions in Chile are also creating quite the buzz.
Bees are dying. Bees are important worldwide.
As beekeepers placed dozens of hives containing thousands of bees in the streets outside a government building Monday, protesting the extreme drought plaguing their country, which they say is killing the plants bees need to survive.
There would be no life if bees die.
Law enforcement arrested at least 3 of the protesters as bees swarmed the streets.
It's dangerous for the people who are allergic because they can cause death.
According to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative, the U.S. imports roughly $2 billion worth of fruits and nuts from Chile, meaning the flow of those goods could be disrupted if their bee population dramatically decreases. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up, one situation where 15 minutes apart can make a year's worth of difference. Gonna explain when we come back. Central Californian family welcoming twins born in different years, but just 15 minutes apart. Look at them. Oh. The mother, Fatima Madrigal, gave birth to her son Alfredo at 11:45 p.m. on December 31st, 2021, while she delivered her baby girl Aylin exactly at midnight on January 1st, 2022, of course. The doctor who delivered the babies at the Natividad Medical Center says this was a great way to start the new year. Now, if you're a twin, listen to this. Hospital officials say the chance of twins being born in 2 different years are 1 in 2 million. 1 in 2 million. Those are some cute babies. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. We're going to hear how some kids in Fort Scott, Kansas can have their Lego creations showcased at a museum.
Democrats are pushing for a major change in Senate rules that could affect passage of a voting rights bill. Republicans warn, be careful what you wish for. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll explain straight ahead.
Crawford County Habitat for Humanity is accepting applications for home ownership. The organization builds houses for families in need. Application period runs until February 28th. Applicants must have lived in Crawford County for at least 1 year. If you're interested in applying, you can download an application online, email it to Habitat. We've provided a link on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Pretty cool thing going on over in Fort Scott, Kansas. The Museum of Creativity is inviting kids and teenagers ages 7 to 18 to come and build something out of Legos, something based on a different theme each week. There are some rules though. Do not copy other people's builds. Respect each other people's builds. Don't hog Legos. Use respectful language and no physical aggression.
Today we're doing Lego Club, and the challenge is to build a park playground type thing. So it's interesting to see the different directions each kid takes with it, and fun to see how they create those with the different pieces.
Top builds from each week are going to be displayed in the museum. Hopefully Laurel Rosenthal is going to get some much needed free time and relaxation, some R&R. This after she was given a retirement send-off from Mark Twain Elementary in Carthage, where Rosenthal was principal. Spent 21 years there as a teacher, then 34 years as principal. When she first started working at the school, there were no bathrooms, no running water.
But almost every week we have someone coming in and saying about the memories they had that we gave them through the years. Sometimes we don't even remember the things they tell us, but they say it made such a difference in their lives. And that is really important. It makes me feel good and makes the staff feel good.
It's awesome. Rosenthal has won several awards over the years, some with the city of Carthage, including Citizen of the Year. Happy retirement. Retail giant Target offering support to area nonprofits, including Joplin's Connect to Culture, but they need your help. C2C and a handful of other organizations have been nominated for the Target Circle Community Giving Program. It's a way for Target to make donations to local nonprofits, but the way the donations are divided is up to the community. Target Circle members can vote for an organization. The one with the most votes gets the highest percentage of funds. We've provided a link to the voting on our website. Again, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. U.S. Department of Ag is cracking down on genetically modified foods. Starting New Year's Day, labels on food items in grocery stores started looking a little different. This change comes after new rules for identifying modified foods came into effect. Now, foods that are bioengineered or contain bioengineered ingredients have to say so on the label. Newer labels should display a QR code, a phone number, or website for more information, while older labels can continue to show a certified USDA organic or non-GMO stamp of approval. Showdown in the Senate looming over voting rights legislation. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer vowing to hold a vote later this month on a rule change to the filibuster in the hopes of being able to advance the bill. Republicans say it's a major mistake, one they could benefit from in the years to come. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively joins us again, and she reports from D.C.
Democrats are moving forward with a plan to jumpstart their stalled voting rights bill, a top party priority in recent months. To do it, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wants to change the Senate's filibuster rule, which requires 60 votes to overcome opposition in the body, crucial to passing a voting bill in the evenly split Senate. In a letter to colleagues on Monday, Schumer wrote the legislation is needed to counter the Republican voter suppression and election nullification laws passed by numerous states. Senator Schumer also connected those state laws to the January 6th riot, calling that day a broader illness, an effort to delegitimize the country's election process.
If we don't protect voting rights, if we don't protect against the kind of un-American mischief to overturn elections in the future, nothing else we do will matter.
It's a solution in search of a problem. It's unconstitutional to federalize the elections.
Changing the filibuster could have long-lasting impacts on the Senate well past voting rights legislation, no matter who is in power.
Does anybody think that if Republicans, if the 60 vote requirement goes away and Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, they wouldn't do things like impose a national voter ID requirement on, quote, voting rights?
Senator Schumer plans to schedule a vote on the filibuster in the next 2 weeks. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Caroline Shively is busy today. Case in point, a bit later, a big inconvenient roadblock.
Hundreds of drivers stranded for more than 24 hours on the interstate outside the nation's capital. I'm Caroline Shively in Woodbridge, Virginia. I'll have details coming up.
While it was certainly nice to thaw out with highs back above normal today from our really downright cold weekend, we unfortunately have another cold snap on the way. That means our high today of 51 over our normal high of 44. We're not going to repeat that again tomorrow thanks to a cold front on the way in later tonight, certainly after tomorrow morning. We'll only make it to 37 tomorrow, and believe it or not, that's going to set the stage for some snow chances to sneak on by as we head into the very late Wednesday night and Thursday morning. The latest on that in a moment, but looking okay from 7th and Range Line. We have mostly clear skies, but you take that 47 degrees at Joplin Regional, you factor in that southwest wind of 16 and gusts of 25, it does make it feel like 40 degrees. So far, the humidity is not terribly high, sitting at 44% with that barometer temporarily rising. Most of us are in the lower to middle 40s still before we hit the top of the 10 o'clock hour, but that southwest wind that we've seen at 15 to 25 and gusts near 40, especially earlier today, that's still making it feel like the mid to upper 30s, even a few spots near 40. But that strengthening wind that we saw today, that is in advance of our next Canadian cold front knocking on the door, and it is noticeably colder behind it. We go from 45 in Kansas City to 26 in Lincoln, 5 in Rapid City. We're not talking about this type of cold headed our way, but it will get colder once again as we head into tonight with 20s expected as we get your Wednesday morning started. At the very least, even though we'll continue with off and on cloud cover during the overnight, nothing underneath the clouds now, and certainly nothing with this, at least this first passing cold front. It's what's upstairs that we're watching. This upper level wave that developed across Montana today, it's in the Dakotas now, that is going to dip close to us going into tomorrow night and Thursday morning. That's going to be all that we need to get some snow chances back in here. But again, nothing to worry about for tonight, just on and off cloud cover for some of you, but everybody starts cold with temperatures back in the 20s. Partly to mostly sunny skies continue for tomorrow, and definitely you'll note that northerly breeze kicking in, a good change of pace, not only because of the direction, it's going to be quite a bit lighter, but still 26 in the morning, 33 by noon. I think 37 around Joplin, and most of us mid and even some upper 30s. That's the best we can do for tomorrow. But the cloud cover really ramps up as we go into Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, and as that wave really kicks into gear, we'll watch for bands of mainly light snow and snow flurries elsewhere pass on through Thursday morning. But once we get to the afternoon, all of it's gone. But we are going to stick with highs, unfortunately, in the 20s with this wave still around. Now, in terms of what we can expect with snow amounts, this has not really changed very much. It's not a big storm system by any means, and we got to fight a little bit of dry air upstairs before that snow can come on down. So given that, and given how fast the snow wants to go, in general, I want to say a dusting to an inch in general, but you can see how maybe a few spots could pick up a little more than an inch. It all depends on how the heavier bands of snow potentially can line up and pass on through. But 37 tomorrow, 23 Thursday, 38 and dry for Friday, but then I got 53 Saturday and 36 Sunday, Jordan. That big switch because of a front that could also bring rain chances back into the forecast.
And that's something all over the place. Nick Kelly, thank you so much. The Boulder County Sheriff says a full investigation, which started the Colorado wildfires, it's going to take some time, but law enforcement is already looking into some leads, including a viral video that shows what could be where the fire first originated. Fox Weather's Max Gordon has the latest from Louisville, Colorado.
Officials looking into the cause of the Marshall Fire in Colorado have narrowed their search to an area where a burning shed was spotted on the morning the fire broke out.
We don't know that that shed or anything around it was the actual start of the fire or whether it was secondary. Something ignited the fire in that wind on a red flag day.
The Denver Post reports investigators were seen coming and going from buildings owned by a religious sect in the neighborhood. The group denies the fire started on their property. Wind gusts topping 100 miles per hour pushed flames into the suburbs north of Denver, where nearly 1,000 homes were destroyed. This man returning to find his house reduced to its foundations. Firefighters helping him crack open this safe, just ashes left inside.
I had all my papers, my home papers, and figured, hey, this thing won't burn.
The fast spread was fueled by drought conditions which have persisted since last summer, making grass and vegetation dry out and burn quickly. Climate experts say it's the latest indication of a climate crisis.
This kind of event that happens in December with a lot of rain to increase fuels early in the year and then no rain later in the year that dries them out is very much associated with climate change.
Climate change is here now. That this is not some future threat that we have to deal with at some point someday, but this is here and now.
As of Monday, search teams were still looking for 2 people missing since the fires. They're feared dead after their houses were found consumed by the flames. In Louisville, Colorado, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
Coming up in sports, Chiefs aiming for their 13th straight win against the rival Broncos this weekend. Also, a pair of big high school basketball games going on in Southwest Missouri. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Carthage Tigers have been one of the hottest teams in the area to begin the basketball season. Carthage is 9-1 overall, won a tournament title at Rolla last week. Now tonight the Tigers try to stay rolling at home with a big game against the Nixa Eagles. Now Nixa off to a really good start too. They're 8-1, currently ranked 3rd in the state in Class 6. The Eagles start fast. Colton Berry in the paint hits the shot, then Jarrett Nelson. Easy lay-in for Nixa. The first bucket for the game for the Tigers comes right before the first quarter buzzer. Joel Pugh scores. It's 13-2 Nixa after 1. For the second, Carthage tries to close the gap. Pugh from the outside. He leads Carthage with 17 tonight. But Nixa stays in control. Back to Nelson. Two-handed jam. He scores 10. Eagles beat Carthage tonight 57-40. Moving on to the COC, the Mustangs are posting on the road against the Webb City Cardinals tonight. Now, these two boys teams have been on a roll to start the year. McDonald County just finished second at the Neosho Holiday Classic, while Webb City 6-2 in their first 8 games and ranked number 8 in the state in Class 5. Now, early on, Caden Turner, 3 from the corner for Webb City. Then Cole Vaden, nice look to Trey Rotes. Cardinals up 11-3. Rotes goes for 9 points, 11 boards. The other end, cross Dowd, smooth pull up. Webb City, though, up 7 after 1. Dante Washington got hot in the second. Washington, 14 in the second quarter alone. Finishes with a game-high 25. Now in the third, Cards start beating up the rim. Trey Rotes gets up for the dunk. Then Washington puts it up for Caden Turner to put down. Finally, Turner on the break. He goes for 14 points, 12 rebounds. Webb City cruises by McDonald County tonight, 84-53. The Kansas City Chiefs will finish up the regular season on Saturday, hitting the road to face the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs head into the final week with an 11-5 record after dropping Sunday's game to Cincinnati. Right now, Kansas City's the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. They can still be number 1 seed. They beat the Broncos on Saturday, and the Titans lose to the Texans on Sunday. But the good news is that the Chiefs fared pretty well against the Broncos lately, winning 12 straight against Denver, dating back to September 2015.
We've been successful as far as winning games, but they're always hard-fought battles. And like you said, that defense, I mean, they got playmakers everywhere, and they run a great scheme. They have a great defensive coordinator. They have a great defensive head coach. And they have a good feel for playing against us since we play so much. So it's always a tough-fought battle for us. A great football team, great defense, and playing in Denver is never easy. So we found ways to win games at the end of games a lot of the times here. But we always know it's going to be a great challenge for us.
And that's a look at sports. We'll be back with more news right after this.
More than 24 hours. Hundreds of drivers were stranded on a major expressway in Virginia. Both directions of traffic came to a standstill yesterday in connection with a crash involving tractor trailers. Many folks did not move an inch. Took to social media pleading for help from state authorities. Fox's Caroline Shively reports now from Woodbridge, Virginia.
Traffic has finally started to move on this stretch of 95, but it was a nightmare for so many drivers, many stranded in their vehicles, some with children and pets desperately waiting for help from authorities. Sheer panic for drivers trapped in this massive traffic jam on the I-95 expressway in Virginia. For hours, unable to move their cars, some leaving everything behind to get supplies and walk their dogs.
I've been stuck here since yesterday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Ever since, we haven't moved at all. No food, no water.
On Monday, a 50-mile stretch of the expressway just south of Washington, D.C. came to a standstill. Police say tractor-trailers jackknifed during the winter storm, clogging up the lanes for drivers.
The roads were very icy, so if you were driving over 10 miles or 15 miles an hour, you was definitely in the danger zone, for sure.
So many drivers forced to spend the night inside their cars in freezing temperatures. Many turned off their cars to conserve fuel. Virginia's governor says emergency teams have tried to connect with stranded drivers to get them the help they need, but it's been a challenge with the roads covered with ice and snow. Senator Tim Kaine tweeted this photo from his car, sharing that he had been stuck since 1 o'clock Monday afternoon.
I travel I-95 all the time. I will never forget this. I've never seen anything like it.
Crews have managed to get many drivers to take detours so that they can tow the abandoned and disabled vehicles. In Woodbridge, Virginia, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
A bit of a follow-up here. This afternoon, officials said there were no longer any stranded motorists on I-95. All right, a new season of Space Force coming to Netflix. Hollywood Nation coming your way. The weekend is kicking off the new year in style with a big announcement. We have that and more of the latest entertainment news in today's Hollywood Nation. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
It's time to walk into the light.
The weekend's Sonic songs, Carell's launch date, and Bowie's catalog sold in the Hollywood Nation. Warner Chappell Music has bought David Bowie's entire catalog. The deal between the late rocker's estate and the publishing unit includes songs from the 26 albums released over his 6-decade career and the posthumous studio album Toy. The news comes just before what would have been Bowie's 75th birthday, January 8th.
This is a great adventure.
Netflix's Space Force is getting ready for blastoff once again. The streamer shares season 2 of the Steve Carell-led comedy series will premiere February 18th. Among returning team members along with Carell are John Malkovich, Jimmy O. Yang, Ben Schwartz, Tawny Newsome, Diana Silvers, and Don Lake. And the weekend kicks off the new year with new music. A teaser for the singer's 5th album, dubbed Dawn FM, says the collection will be a sonic universe from the mind of The Weeknd, while also teasing the many collaborations on it, including Jim Carrey and Quincy Jones. Dawn FM will be released Friday. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That'll do it for us. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with video of some aerial shots of KOAM, KFJX Television City. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.